They don't live here. It's Neko here. I'm in the St. John's Waterfront. And we're actually here for a small rally because this whole area, City Council actually wants to fence this entire area off. There's not really much of a point because there hasn't been any significant security issues here, and of course we get a lot of tourism, especially cruise ships here. And if the whole area is blocked off, I mean, it's going to give it an intimidating kind of look, which I think is no need of, and plus we just love the walk here, kind of like what we're doing now. So we got some people coming here so far, but we're going to march to the City Hall and let them know that we don't want this to go through. Even though it's initially been approved, but you know what? This is a last-ditch effort. We can't go down without fighting, so we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, the dishonesty that like was rushed through with their
I'm glad it's not raining. It's not a bad day to be out on the street enjoying the beautiful publicly accessible waterfront. And this is actually, just so everybody knows, this is one of the publicly what's being described as publicly accessible areas that will be part of that 50 or 40%, depending on who you talk to, I suppose. So right here we have a publicly accessible space. We're gonna wait around for a few minutes. We're just gonna gather, and we're gonna in a few minutes, maybe 3 or 4 minutes, we'll start walking down along the harbor side, and we're just gonna enjoy being close to the water because you know, we don't know how much longer we'll have this ability without having a fence in between where we are and the boats and the water for security reasons. So does anybody want to say anything while we wait a few minutes?
I refuse to live in fear. That's what I have to say.
Security's a non-issue. We're perfectly
so
safe.
Many other alternatives to the fence. We could build finger piers. We bring the small boat harbor over here, push the other shit over there, make the cruise ship patrons take a bus into town. I don't care. But I am not going to let them fence off my harbor. It's just not going to happen.
Any other points of view? Anybody else want to say something?
I think the mayor, I heard him on CBC, I think he's really childish and immature. I have to say this because he talked about Alan Doyle from the Republic of Doyle, saying how he was upset with Alan because, you know, shame on poor Alan because Alan has a point of view outside of the Republic of Doyle. Like, get over it, like, grow up, you know? It's like, who is this guy? Does he have any intelligence at all? Like, this is a... Yeah, yes. Alan does, yeah. And, you know, this is a CBC production and whatever company, you know, whatever, doesn't matter what company it is, but it's a CBC production. And because Alan is against it, all of a sudden he says things like, you know, sort of like, how dare Alan Doyle say that when we give him, you know, the right to shoot in the city? Is like, give me a break. Like, the Republic of Doyle brings in more money for him now than he possibly could have imagined. That's my thoughts.
Yes.
The threat of, like, you know, Mayor O'Keefe, His Honor, saying that, you know, 3,000, we're going to lose 3,000 jobs and $200 million. I just don't buy that, man. It's like the oil industry is not going to walk away from $1 billion bet, you know, because, you know, those 3,000 jobs in the worst case scenario might move to CBS or something like that, but they ain't leaving Newfoundland, not for the next 15 or 20 years at least, right? So, like, when I hear that kind of crap out of the mayor's mouth, it just... it shatters my whole confidence in the city council, I'm sorry to say, right? So it's shocking that they would use those kind of fear tactics, which are typical of the feds, to try and make us all live in fear and stay at home. And it's just like, man, you know, that's just not why I moved to St. John's. I don't know about the rest of you, right? But, you know, disconnection, and I find it extremely ironic as well that after so many years of fuckery by the feds surrounding ocean-related issues, that the greatest irony of ironies now is they're going to fence off the ocean in St. John's. How ironic is that?
Nobody wants a fence.
No! We're perfectly safe.
So offensive.
Going on the wharf now?
Oh yeah, let's go on the wharf. Let's go get rescued. I'm fired on that. Oh no, nobody's getting arrested. I hope not. My terminal? I never saw it. Wharf? I walk down here all the time. Sure. Yeah? Why don't we stop in front of this boat here? What a convenient, beautiful boat.
What a fence would be good.
So somebody's just made a good point. Normally, this is filled with supply boats. Today it's not. I'm not sure why. Anybody have any ideas?
Supply boats down the harbor, but they're up here today for some reason.
They're up here today. Yep. This is the section of the harbor that is going to be fenced off permanently. This is also the section that is normally fenced off when a cruise ship comes in. So not only right now, what we lose is that access during the periods of time when a cruise ship is here, and Canada Border Services Agency comes in and they do they process everybody through so they can go and shop in our beautiful downtown. But the inhabitants of this downtown, this beautiful downtown, will not be able to come back in, and so the people that come in on cruise boats will be able to access this, whereas we won't. And I think that's scary, and I think that's a juxtaposition. I think there's a benefit to living here that we should have. So the fence is going to go 900 meters from where we came in all the way down to the keg. We're gonna walk down that way. The reason that the Port Authority has to go ahead with this, the actual direct words from Mr. Hanrahan are. So the question was from a CBC reporter: is there a possibility that this may not happen? The answer was no. We are mandated by the International Maritime Association, contracted rather, a treaty which Transport Canada is privy to, that we are susceptible to. We've got to mandate security. It's a mandated change in the regime since right back to 9/11 actually, and we've got to get up with the times. Well, that's true. You got to get up with the times, and that includes public consultation. But I'm not sure why this is more of a security threat than across the harbor where those gas drums are, or any of our homes up that way. Or how a 6-foot fence is going to stop a terrorist from doing something to these boats here.
And what are we doing?
So we're just going to keep going inside.
Right now, we just walked upstairs to City Hall. Oh, well, there's definitely over 200 people here. The cold hasn't kept anybody home.
Oh, we started at 40.
Gallery who have taken valuable time out of their days to make their voices known. Certainly some on the budget, but certainly a large portion of people who are here today, obviously on the issue of the harbour fence, on the proposal for the city that has come from the St. John's Port Authority. So I want to acknowledge that, and also the ongoing petition that is at present, I believe, online with over 2,000 signatures of people who are in protest to this city's involvement in the harbour fence proposal. As the public may be aware, I have been advocating for a stronger line of communication between the city and the St. John's Port Authority. I believe that a proper engagement of both all the council and the public has not been forthcoming. I strongly feel that in response to this is budgetary talk. I strongly feel that in response to the additional information brought forth by the city's development committee, that I cannot support the financial support from the city towards this proposal in our cost sharing in the capital works budget, as the capital allowance is designated for cost sharing on city-owned projects. Now, in today's telegram, we basically have, as some comments in the chair section, as the St. John's Port Authority, we are the federal agency responsible for administering the port in St. John's, the capital city of Newfoundland and Labrador. We are financially self-sufficient and operate as a commercial enterprise. We derive all our revenue from port activities and reinvest all earnings into port infrastructure and operations. So why are we, the question is, why are we contributing to that harbour drive fence? In essence, today, we can see as well that the NDP MPs have put out a press release. Basically, both St. John's area New Democrat Jack Harris for St. John's East and for St. John's South Mount Pearl are asking that the St. John's Port Authority be considered to plan to block off access to the waterfront. The new permanent security fence, as agreed, appears to be overkill when it comes to actual security requirements. The Port Authority ought to engage in the public in this particular process. And when the public access is threatened in this way, the public has a right to be fully informed of the requirements for security and given a chance to participate in finding a way to meet whatever requirements there are while maximizing public access. And the issue here at play is the fact that the public has not been engaged, and we are also, even though the Port Authority is basically financially self-sufficient, have been invited to basically cost share this particular fence. The issue is that the public do not have access to the waterfront if this fence goes through. And in the Development Committee meeting of last week, there was new information brought forward after the Council's vote, and basically I have great issue in the new light of this information about the access of that fence, that it will be permanently shut off to the public, and I think that that is an absolute shame. And it is in our budget, it is in our capital costs, in our capital works budget as a cost sharing effort, so I needed to address it in our budget because it will be considered in that particular area. And I think that it's basically something that we need to engage the public in our municipal plan review, and we at the city should not be responsible for funding this particular fence. So that is my statement there in regards to the issue there. I will be